Alright, today we're going to be doing something a little stupid. I got this muriatic acid, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it to increase the airflow of this cast iron intake. Uh, the acid it reacts with the iron and slowly eats it away. It's a real slow process, and I mean, you only get maybe a you know thousandth of an inch difference there, but it's an even etching throughout all the runners. So I mean, it's not like it's gonna eat it uneven or anything like that. As long as you have it, the fluid in there uh, level. So I'm gonna block off the runners on this, at the cylinder head mating area with 2x4s, and then I'll pour the acid in through the top, and it let it sit until it stops bubbling and the iron has cooled off, because when the acid is working, that it'll generate a lot of heat within the manifold there, and it's an old trick that circle track and dirt track racers used to do when they're restricted with using stock production manifolds and even heads. They would use some minor grinding where they could, and then they would use the acid to help kind of clean up their work, and it also it you can't tell when acid's been used normally, unless you know what you're looking for. But it's just such a minor difference, but it'll still, it'll increase the CFMs, maybe 20 or 30 points, which might not be extreme, but that's still you know better than what it was. And every advantage that you can take, you might as well take it. And so this is the intake that's going on the workhorse, and I want to keep it as stock as possible, and this is one of the ways of keeping stock parts on the truck while still giving it just a real minor boost in performance. I'm going to do this with the Vortec exhaust manifolds here to get a little bit. They're the best flowing exhaust manifold stock. Like I said, next to the large bore ram heads that they're more expensive than long tube headers in most cases. And so I think with increasing some of the exhaust flow and the intake flow there, it's not going to be any 100 horsepower difference or anything like that, but it'll be it's a little bump in breathing, and that any little bit really helps with that. With this acid, and it'll take 3 or 4 different washes before it's actually I get to a point where I think I'll be happy with it. Some people they'll only let it sit for maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes like that. I mean, as long as the acid is bubbling and it's still generating heat, it's still working. And so I'll just leave it in there, and I'll keep checking on it, and whenever it seems like it's stopped reacting, then I'll drain it and I'll rinse it out and then go for another wash and go from there. I'll probably end up using probably 5 or 6 gallons by the time I'm done with the intake and the exhaust manifolds. And I'll be wearing rubber gloves and all that kind of stuff, and I'm gonna be safe with it. But it's just a little trick that I've wanted to try out, and I think the 82 is a prime candidate for this treatment. And I'll I'll document the actual process and stuff, and actually go through a video with showing actually going through and the washes and when I make up the block off plates to hold in the fluid and stuff. And I'll make another video getting more detailed into that. And then once when I'm actually finished with all three of those items, then I'll get them slapped onto the workhorse there, and we'll see if we can't there isn't at least a seat of the pants difference between the performance and stuff. So check back there in a couple of days, and I'll have a video done on that. Hopefully I get done in a couple of days at least. Who knows? It might take another month before I actually get anything done, but whenever it actually is done, I'm sure hopefully it'll actually be pretty informative there. Just trying to channel my inner Smoky eunuch. If it's not in the rules, and it's not a rule. Some of the mud tracks around here, it doesn't say anything about porting out stock stuff. It just says run stock stuff. So we'll see if I can't make a difference, and maybe run the 82 through a few stock classes with a little bit of help. I poured out a little bit of that acid here on this wood, just to double checking what I'd heard on it. And you can see there on the camera you can't really tell, but it didn't etch the wood. It didn't eat the wood. Nothing like that. It didn't react anywhere near the way it will with the metal. And that's whenever you apply it to and you mix it. They're very specific about using a wood or a plastic spoon, because it doesn't have a chemical reaction with either of those two compounds. So when I make the block offs for those ports, so I'm just going to take a 2x4 and just bolt it straight on there, and it'll seal right up, and not worried about any leaks at all. And I'm not worried about it eating through the wood, because you can tell it doesn't react with wood. So the next step is to actually get everything moving along here.